In the last video, we looked at the basic structure of an HTML document. In this video, we'll be exploring the common HTML tags that you'll be using on almost every web page. So we'll begin with some headings and paragraphs. So headings are what structure our web page. Think of them as chapter titles and then the paragraphs as the story content between those chapters. So when it comes to headings, we have the H1, which we discussed in the last video. So the H1 tag is used for the main title. So let me just say main title, and we can have other heading tags such as H2, and this will be subtitle, and we can also have a third one, H3, which will be subtitle, subtitle 2, subtitle, and we'll also have H4, and we'll say subtitle 3. So these can go on as H4, H5. So the H1 is for the main title or the main section, and the H2, H3, and the H4, these are smaller headings or subsections. So let me just show you what this looks like on our page. Go to our page. As you can see, this is what we have. So as you can see, the H1 is larger than the H2, H3, and H4. So now, as you can remember from the previous video, we also had a paragraph. So to add the paragraph, we used this tag, and we'd say, let's just now change the main section here, and we'll say, welcome to my website. And we just bring back the H2, and we'll say about me. And in the paragraph tag, we'll say website. Let's just add something else. I'll say I'm learning HTML. Okay, that's not how you spell it. Yes, I'm learning HTML, and this is my first website. So that's how we add text to our website with the H1, H2, and so on to add headers, and the paragraph tags to add paragraphs or content between the sections on our website. Remember, in the last video, we said every content we see on the website goes between the body tags, and part of the content we said can be displayed as the text, just as we've done so far. But if you remember, we said we could also add links and images. So let's start by adding a link. How do you add links in HTML? To do that, we use the A tag. So just like every other tag, we begin with an opening A, and then we'll close it off, and then we'll add the text we want in the middle, and this will be, say, visit YouTube. Yes. So when we go back to the page, you just notice that this is now just text. So how do we make this a link? So using the same tag we had, just in between the opening tag here, we add the href attribute. So everything that goes between the tag here, not in between the closing and the opening, but just within the first opening tag here, between the angle brackets. What's in between that is called an attribute. So we will add the href attribute to specify what link we'll go to when we click on this text right here. So to add the attribute, we'll say href, and it's assigned the link to youtube.com. So let's just change this. Visit YouTube to learn coding. So that's how you add a link to your web page. So let's just check this. Now you can see the text we had is now blue, and when we hover over it, our mouse turns into a pointer. So now if I click this, you'll notice that it now takes us to the YouTube homepage. So let's just go back to our code. So that's how you add a link. So now how do we add images? If you notice on the left here, I have 3 images. But how do I make these images appear on our web page here? So to do this, we use the image tag. So how do we write this? So to begin, we'll say img, and we'll add an attribute right inside src, and then we'll specify where the image is. So we use this first one right here, say img 1 underscore 1.jpg. So we've added the image there. Note the difference here. Unlike these other tags, the image tag does not have a closing image tag. So this type of tag is known as a self-closing tag or a void element. So let's just look at our page again to see the changes. So as you can see, we've added this large image right here on our web page. Just try to zoom out. Okay, so that's the image we've just added to our page. Okay, let's just add one more attribute to this. Say out. So now what does this attribute do? This attribute provides text if the image doesn't load. So for example, if maybe the network of the user is laggy or it's a bit slow, it's down, it will just provide text to explain what the image is about. And it's also great for accessibility. So let's just add some text. Just say a picture of a laptop on an office desk. So now let's go back to our page. Okay, so this is what we have, but as you can see, we can't see that text there. So this attribute only applies when the image has not been displayed or has not loaded, or when it fails to load. So for example, if the image is not found, so for example, let me just change this and add an image I don't currently have, image 9, and then when I go back, you notice that now it just brings this image icon and description, a picture of a laptop on an office desk. So that's another attribute we can use inside the image tag. As the website gets bigger and a bit more complex, we might need ways to organize the content on our web page. So that's where the div and the section elements come in. These are like containers and they help group related content together. Let's start with the section element. Let's create a section. So we can say, let's just wrap this inside one section, okay, and then the closing tag for this element, we'll put it here and say section. Let's just tabulate that. Okay, so now what we've done here is all this, the main heading, the subheading, the paragraph text, the link to YouTube, and the image, we've just added them, just grouped them together into one section, meaning they're just part of one section. So now let's create another section. So it's a section and h2 and say my projects, and add a paragraph. Say, here are a few things I've built. That's all we have in this section. So why are we using sections exactly? So before we answer that question, let me just show you our web page. So as you can see, we still have the main title here, the subheading, the about me, and the other subheading, my projects. But as you can see, these things don't really look like they're separated. So why are we using the section elements? Or each section will later get its own visual style using CSS when we get to the styling of the web page later in this series. So this means we can use different sections to style everything that's in between it together, such as adding background colors, spacing, the layout. That's what we use sections for. So simply meaning when we want to change the background color of just one particular spot on our web page, we can just specify which section we want that color to apply to instead of applying to everything. So that's why we are using sections. It just simply helps make the page clean, readable, and more professional. So the next part or the next element we'll discuss in this video are lists. So we use lists all the time on web pages for things like menus, features, contact information. We use the unordered list element or UL for unordered lists. So these are lists with bullets or bullet points. And we use the ordered list for ordered lists with numbers like 1, 2, 3, and going on. So let's just add another section. We'll wrap this in a section. It's a section. Okay, let's remove this one first. So this is, we're going to use an ordered list first, and let's add subsection, and we'll say h2, and we'll call it my skills. And in my skills, to have an actual list, we use the list element or li, and we'll start listing our skills now. HTML, the next one will be CSS, and we'll finally add JavaScript, and we'll just have these three skills now. So as we said, the UL or an ordered list element is used to make a list with bullet points. So let's just see what this looks like on the web page. As you can see now, we have this new section, my skills, with three skills, and they have bullet points. Let's just add a few more, but this time we use the ordered list, and let's say li HTML, okay, and teach JavaScript. Let's see two lists here, an ordered list with the bullet points and a ordered list with numbers 1 through 3. So lists are super flexible. We'll even use them to make navigation bars as we move on in the next videos. Well, let's recap everything we have looked at so far. So we just started with a simple HTML structure as we learned in the previous video. And then in this video, we looked at some more elements. We started with the heading with H1 and added an H2, which is more of a subsection after the main heading of welcome to my website. We added some text with a paragraph tag. Then we saw how we can add links to our web page using the a tag and its attribute, the href attribute. And then we saw how we can add images with the source attribute and alt attribute to display text in case the image does not load. Then we saw how we can divide parts of the web page with a section element. And then we proceeded and added lists. When it comes to lists, we talked about the unordered list and the ordered list. Unordered list just creates a list with bullet points, and the ordered list creates lists with numbers 1 to infinity. Now let's add one more section. Not really a section, we'll add a footer now. So we have a footer element. In the footer, we'll add some text using the paragraph, and we'll say copy to add the copyright icon, and we'll say rule maybe and let's see what this looks like now. Okay, so now we have the main heading and 3 subsections, which is my skills, my project, and the about me. And we also have a footer at the end of the web page, right at the bottom. So notice how we started off with a blank page, and now we've added a lot more things now. Like we have a header at the top, and we have a footer at the bottom. Our page is just simple, and it's just simply black text on a white background. So in the next video, we'll use CSS to bring it to life with some colors, some fonts, some spacing, and a layout that looks clean and consistent.